Good morning, everybody. It's been a long time. I think it's over 10 to 12 weeks since I was on before. I just want to clarify a few things. We have received a lot of information from people in higher authorities, from people who've worked in top level jobs but that don't work there anymore. But the sad part about it is assaults are still happening on our bus drivers. I'm going to read some things. To whom it may concern, we are trying to change the perspective that bus drivers are more than numbers. They are professionals. Bus drivers are told by most companies that they are an integral part of the service team. Bus driving is an increasing dangerous occupation. Attacks on bus drivers are rising, and this has been reported by TSV, which is Transport Safety Victoria, many times. There is an increasing tension, and on board there is verbal and sometimes physical conflict between passengers and those at bus stops. I know that. I have seen that myself last week. This occurs on a daily basis, and these are facts which have been reported by Transport Safety Victoria over the last 3 years. At least once each day. Only 5% reports is particularly bad, and the drivers are fed up as it wears drivers down over time. The drivers interact in the tea room and they talk about this over OH&S issues, TBU delegates, and encouragement to interact with other drivers. But why is it still happening? Today, I will pause for 10 seconds. Today, I remember our brother who died in Brisbane 3 years ago. He went to work. He never came home. A non-provoked attack. He burned behind the wheel. What a way. Can you imagine the pain that he was in? That was Manit. I'm just reading a statement that was sent to me from Brisbane. I've been up there. I've looked around. And the guys have told me up there it's issues of concern. They have attacks at least one per week, every week. And it's an ongoing issue. Enough is enough. To those people in authority, it's time to act. There's a little document here that said Manit's Paradise Park on Budapest Road where he died, June 2018. His brother wants answers. Mayor promised Adrian Schruriner at the time promised all buses which would be commissioned by Brisbane City Council would be equipped with driver protection barriers. Some have, and today there's still a lot of buses nationwide without any screens whatsoever. We're even getting reports of some buses nationwide today that don't even have driver's door to the driver's cabin. It's 2020, guys, nearly. When I started my driving career back in 1976, I was fully protected. Yes, we had limited confrontations, and if we had, it was dealt with straight away. I was part of a safety network team where I introduced, and I would love to introduce here, if each and every one of you that can make this change would listen. I'm willing to work with you anytime. We have sent so many emails to so many people. We have followed up on emails. we have got no response. From the passengers, they have had enough. They have seen it all. They have complained about this over time to local members, to TWU, to all bodies involved that can make and solve this problem and make bus driving great again. It's time to act now before we see another death. Forgive me because there's a lot of things given to me, as I said, from people who used to work in high up places in these organisations, right from government down to government departments. They send me few little facts, few little figures. It's embarrassing what I read because they've been talking about this issue for over the last 4 years. It's been documented. It's been televised. And nothing much has happened. Why? Why are bus drivers left out in the cold like this? Why? Why? I'm looking at an article from a media release, 9th of November 2016. The heading is, as you see it on my Facebook, "Cowardly and unprovoked physical assaults on bus drivers must stop. Safety barriers needed. Hundreds of bus drivers have gone to various rallies over the last 5 years. Some companies are doing their best, but it's not enough, because unless there's a full screen on the bus, it will not protect the bus driver. Safety barriers with full protective screens will prevent some of these tragedies that are happening today. We don't want to see another death. We've already seen one. Hundreds of drivers have been bashed. I've just looked over the assault in Victoria 2016 on a female bus driver at that time, probably in her late 50s. One of the worst assaults that ever happened, early in the morning in Greensboro. Bashed, broken eye sockets. Wow. She was so lucky, I believe, to bring the bus, to bring the bus to a standstill. But unfortunately, information that I got, the perpetrator was never found. I believe he was on some substance on that night. There's some key point issues here that have been raised with various bodies who should be doing more, that we think as advocate volunteers, as passengers who use the public bus networks now. These are statements that were made. One of the key factors here is, it says, distinctions between different types and levels of verbal abuse and physical assaults vitally informs drivers' attitudes to reporting abuse and assaults to operators. Some drivers have told us in the past they have reported many times, but they feel it's gone on deaf ears. It's so sad. This is an OH&S issue. Section 21, every driver has a right to work in a safe and healthy work environment, the same as everybody else. Action must be taken now to prevent attacks, both on bus drivers and both on the travelling passengers. Another key factor which was mentioned, which was talked about, being on newspapers, through television networks, was roll out security screens and loop barriers, and for these devices to become mandatory requirements for obtaining PTV contracts for new vehicles, and to release the funding necessary to retrofit existing vehicles. For authorities to introduce mandatory penalties for those who attack bus drivers, roster additional authorised officers onto our buses, and extended jurisdiction for protection service officers to the bus network. People have asked me, many passengers have asked me to send an email to the current Minister, Lisa. We have done that once. We have done it twice regarding PSOs. We have the greatest respect for you, Lisa. We have the greatest respect for all the police out there. They do a wonderful job. But the legislation needs to be changed. PSOs, when I read it, have powers in designated areas. Wow, what a waste of taxpayers' money. All PSOs should have the same powers. You need to move some of the current PSOs, which we believe you have a current 1,523, and you're currently training over 3,000 new police officers, or that's what you're asking to train over the next 4 years. We think, as everyday passengers and the bus drivers, you should be able to move across some of these PSOs to the transit division. They are under so much stress at the present time, trying to cope with the demand, and they don't have enough manpower. Move them across now. Forget about designated areas. It's meaningless. To us, it's pretend police. We're not trying to insult you guys. We love you. We want to work with you. When we're out there, please come and talk to us. We're not out there to cause trouble. This is a safety awareness issue. It must be addressed now. Tomorrow may be too late. Another attack is far too many. We don't want to see another death. This is not about politics. To our local member, you know me. I've been in there about 7 times over the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of passengers have gone in to see you over the same issues and about other issues of concern on the public bus network. But you never return our emails. We ring you, we do follow-ups, we hear the same thing, which is nothing. Safety issues can be supported by all sides of politics and community-minded people. Put bus drivers first. They are more than numbers. They are professionals. Melissa Horn, the current Minister of Transport. Many emails have gone to your office regarding this. I myself followed up on some emails. I spoke to your staff last week. I got a lot of humming. I got a lot of misconception. I've had enough. The travelling public has had enough. They're sick of antisocial behaviour. They see it every day. They're sick of fare evasion. It's to a high level. It's a lot higher than the 2 to 4% that's reported every year. It's a lot higher than that. You need to get out there and talk to the bus drivers. You made a statement to me on the 19th of the 3rd, 2019, Melissa. You said to me, you may be aware of We Wear Your Words campaign, which aims to ensure that passengers appreciate the important and difficult work done by frontline staff. Really? The campaign focuses on helping frontline staff across the rail, tram and bus industry to feel valued, appreciated, protected and safe to do their job. Wow. You go on? In addition, I understand that around 2/3 of all buses in Victorian are currently fitted with CCTV cameras, with that number continuing to rise as new buses are introduced across the network. Every bus out there should be fitted with a CCTV camera. It's 2019. We've been talking about these assaults on bus drivers since 2014. We've marched to Parliament House in 2016. It's still happening today. It's not good enough. It's time to act now. Those of you who are in authority to make this change, stop making excuses. It's not about money. Safety come first. Safety before profits. You also tell me, I assured you that the Andrews Labour government will continue to work with the PTV to identify ways to improve the safety of bus drivers and passengers on our bus network. So what's happening? These are your words. Thank you for sharing your ideas with me. Melissa, I have better ideas. You have them in front of you. I sent you a suggestion. I typed it to you. I never got a response. It could be on every bus today. It's not going to cost very much to do what I've asked you to do. Why don't you go and do what you're supposed to do and work hard for these drivers? These are the ones out there on frontline staff who go to work. They want to feel safe. They're totally stressed out. They have this fear. If they don't feel safe, the travelling public won't feel safe. It's time to act now. Today, I call on the state government. Mr. Andrews, Dan, you said you're the man. You said you govern for all Victorians. Well, bus drivers are part of that family. They work long hours. Some shifts are over a 13-hour cycle with probably 11 hours, 45 minutes working hours. They get short breaks. They're under a lot of pressure to get from A to B. They cop a lot of abuse. I know what it's like. I was there. Bus Drivers First is now calling on the state government with a mandate to enclose bus drivers' cabins to prevent tragedies. So Dan, ask yourself this question. Today pilots have locked cabins. Truck drivers have cabins. Train drivers have cabins. Tram drivers have cabins. And there's a lot of buses out there at the present time nationwide that don't even have security screens, and some don't even have the doors. It's not 1980, society of change. We know it's a different society we live in today. There seems to be no respect out there for bus drivers. We, as travelling public, that do pay our fares, that do pay your wages, it's time to act now. Firewall cabins to be fitted on all buses now. Stop making excuses. You've been talking about this for years. Too many deaths, too many assaults, and it's still happening today. Enough is enough. Just bear with me, guys. I'm just trying to pick out information. It's very hard to do everything. As I said before, bus drivers have a right to work in a safe and healthy work environment. Acts of violence and verbal abuse means drivers do not feel safe. So how can they keep you safe? Enough is enough. Put bus drivers first. Full security screens on all buses now. Throughout Victoria, I've travelled to Sydney, to Brisbane. I talk with a lot of people. I listen to drivers. I feel emotional. These are not crocodile tears. These are real tears. I look at signs at train stations. I look at signs on surrounding walls. And it says, Victorian Police, I respect you guys. You only do what you can do. But legislation needs to be changed. Detective service officers and police patrolling the public transport network, keeping you safe. Wow. We need legislation to change that these PSOs can travel on our buses. Public transport network. The bus industry is part of the public transport network. Legislation, Dan, change it before somebody else is badly hurt or injured. It's time. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. There was an article written on The Age on the 19th of October 2016. It broke my heart to read this article. And there was a statement made by somebody from one of the bus companies in the state of Victoria said, there is no basis for this instruction to be issued to drivers. He stated if employees follow the direction given by their union, action would be taken and would amount to unlawful industrial action as defined by the Fair Work Act. That was somebody from somebody high up in one of the companies today, which we believe there's about 11 companies have the contract around Victoria. I think this was all about the Mikey system, where drivers were asked to touch on, which was part of their obligation to ask passengers to touch on. They have every right to ask a passenger to touch on. And then I think at that time, the way I read it from you people that have sent me this information, I think the unions at that time said, forget about asking the passenger to touch on because there was too much confrontation between the driver and the passenger. Respect, guys. Everybody is entitled to have a safe and healthy work environment. You must have a valid ticket to travel on any mode of transport in the state of Victoria. But we know over 30% of people on buses don't even pay a fare. This is amazing. This is an article on the 4th of May 2019 that was written on the Herald Sun. I think the RTBU were kicking up about figures provided that the Herald Sun shows that over 880 V-Line and Metro train driver staff and ticket inspectors were physically and verbally assaulted last year. Already this year there has been over 250 recorded attacks. Guys, these are the words I'm reading from people who have worked in your organisations. You need to work with the government and try to make this change. It's a safety awareness campaign. It concerns everybody. Every tram driver, bus driver, train driver, V-Line, every passenger that uses our services. We should be entitled to a safe work environment, and we as everyday passengers should be entitled to travel on a bus without any anti-social behaviour or attacks. I think that was made by Luba Grigg O'Fordic. I think she is the current Victorian Secretary, and we have written to most of these people, but of course nothing has happened, no replies, and we think that's absolutely disgusting because this should be taken on board. It needs to be addressed now. I'm looking at another article that I got was written on the 12th to the 9th, 2018. It's written by Chris Lowe, Herald's Sun. Attacks on bus drivers are rising and that can't go on. Wow. Well, Chris, it's still going on. Nothing much is happening, but it needs to change. Enough is enough. We believe BVA were sat down with the government and all unions and all government bodies approximately about 3 years ago discussing the safety barriers on buses, and I think there was a mandate given at that time that it would be a 3-year process. If that's the case, Chris, that 3 years is up now. It's 2019, and as we said, which has been reported by a lot of people statewide, the passengers that use the buses every day and drivers themselves have said that there's still a lot of buses out there with any safety screens, and some buses do not have any doors. 15th of November 2016. Bus drivers rally for safety following spat of violence attacks by passengers. So 2016, 2019, it's still happening. Bus drivers want same protection from attacks as ambos as police. The 23rd of May, 2018, written by Benjamin Priest of The Age. There's a key factor here handed to me by a bus driver. Bus drivers go to work. There is no guarantee we will come home without any hassle. Our families have no guarantee we will not be assaulted. You go to work and you know you will go home uninjured. We have the same right. So that's a bus driver telling you who can make this change. Please, bus drivers are crying out for this change. It must happen now. Manit should never have died. It's sad. If he had a full screen on that bus, which we believe we were told he only had a half screen, this could have been prevented. A full screen is the only way you're going to protect a bus driver. Society has changed. Open cabins are dangerous due to flammable liquids. There's been so many attacks nationwide. Spoke to the bus drivers in Sydney, machete attacks, capsicum spray attacks, here in Melbourne, around the state of Melbourne, Ballarat, Geelong, Metropolitan Melbourne, coffee thrown on drivers, spitting. Absolutely disgusting behaviour. Respect is gone out the door. Our bus drivers are top class people. I love them. I will speak for you guys. I have to do this. I sat down with a dad the other day and I did cry. He told me his 16-year-old daughter was assaulted on the bus. Mr. Andrews, it's time to listen. There are gangs, lots of gangs, especially down here in the southeastern district, right across Werribee, Tarneet. To the other gentlemen out there in Tarneet and Werribee, I thank you. I'm sorry that this is happening. I know you tried to bring this across to Mr. Andrews. You gave a speech. You spoke out on television. You went to Parliament House. Your son was attacked, not once, but twice. His son was disabled. Shocking. Where these louts are roaming the network looking for soft targets. It's time to act before somebody else dies. government regulations that were sent to us under the Act of 1983, if I can remember, to travel with a valid ticket, pay correct fare and carry any concession entitlement. It's an offence otherwise under the 1983 Act. Fines query can be made to 1300 number 135066. Fare evasion is rampant. Just imagine if we could get back 25 or 30% of that in fines. That could go to putting screens on buses. The estimated cost in 2016, John, sorry man, was approximately $10.2 million to fit out over 2,100 buses. That's nothing. Safety before profits. Lives are more important. Safety and health and work environment is more important than money. The money is there. Use it and use it right, because millions of dollars is wasted in the transport industry every day. These are words from another document. It's only a key factor. I didn't write this. I personally think that bus drivers serve a very important function in society. They get our children to and from school and commuters to work and back home again. I agree. All the time functioning at the peak concentration levels required to navigate what can be a very dangerous road at times. Does anybody really think the need the stress of worrying that some thug is just about to spit in their face, knock them unconscious, physically abuse them, hold a knife to their throat, or burn them alive as they sit in the bus seat? It also states, there is no other profession in Australia today where a random punch to the back of a head is being shrugged off as an occupational hazard. And what really worries me is that the more these assailants are getting away with, the more frequent and severe the assaults are getting. And the closer we are to do something unthinkable. Brisbane, October the 28th. A few years ago, it happened. It happened to our brother, Manit. He went to work. He suffered. He never came home. Left a beautiful wife. He was about 29 years old and 4 kids. Full safety screens to be fitted to all buses now. Open cabins are dangerous. Just bear with me, guys. There's a lot of things. I'm trying to just pick out key factors. Somebody said to me the other day, it was a passenger, she said she's seen it all. She had had enough. And if you go to our Facebook page and look at the comments made by some passengers, some people that have worked in that organisation in top levels, you will see what they are talking about. They just had enough of what they have to put up with every day on buses. Somebody said bus drivers should be armed with capsicum spray. We see on local newspapers during the school holidays, antisocial behaviour targeting on school holidays, Bayside battles crime rate, shopping centre police working together to keep a lid on crime. Oh yes, I just found that document now. It says the push to mandate bus driver security screens has come from the Transport Workers Union and the industrial group, the Bus Association, following a disturbing increase in violent attacks. Talks were held with TWU, their employees, all government bodies and Public Transport Victoria and the Minister at the time. That was about 3 years ago, and that was reported on The Age, www.theage.com.au. Unfortunately, guys, some attacks are still happening and have happened. I'm just going to go briefly to attacks that have happened in Melbourne over the last few months. 30th of May 2019, bus driver attacked with chemical spray. January the 5th, 2019, Melbourne bus driver attacked by 2 women on video. Wow. Some here from Sydney. As I said, I advocate for all bus drivers nationwide. Daily Mail Sydney, 7 News Sydney. Preston bus driver attacked June the 2nd, 2014. Facebook, July the 5th, 2018. 7 News Sydney, bus driver attacked in Surrey Hills. April the 2nd, 2019. Bus driver being assaulted by passengers refusing to pay for ticket. Sydney, April the 1st, 2019. Bus driver attacked. Wow. Melbourne. Shocking pictures have emerged of a Melbourne bus driver who was the victim of a nice-fueled attack. Melbourne bus drivers up in uproar over violent assault by passengers. Theage.com.au. Of course, we have October the 19th, 2016. Bus drivers are assaulted more than once a month on average. Melbourne bus ran driver-passenger confrontation video. www.news.com.au. July the 3rd, 2018. A Melbourne woman laid an abusive rant at a bus driver has been launched. 2 girls launched a blistering racial-fueled attack on a woman. May the 23rd, 2018. Bus drivers want to be included in laws protecting emergencies. This month after his death, bus drivers took to the streets of Melbourne. Bus drivers abused, assaulted and spat on by angry passengers. How disgraceful. The Herald Sun. And then we have, I think on the Carrum Down bus on the 18th of July, I just looked at the vision through Crime Stoppers. I said that could be my son. You see a young gentleman being robbed for his phone and ear things. We hear about the attacks in Nunnywadding in July, where I think is a 624 bus thing goes from Fountain Gate to St Kilda. Drivers were attacked by, the police think it was ball bearings from slingshots, but those drivers ended up in hospital. Enough is enough. Full safety screens to be put on all buses now. We have been talking about it for far too long. To everybody that has sat down, these are all the information that I have read to you. I didn't write that. This has been documented. It's been documented. It has been on television. It has been on Crime Stoppers. To all out there, we are do our best every day. We have tried. We have sent so many emails. We have got no response. We decided to set up a petition on .org. And this is the only way we can do this. And hopefully that each and every one of you, every bus driver, to all the travelling public, you need to get behind us. To access our petition, you need to go to www.parliament.government.au/council/petitions. I'll repeat again, www.parliament.vic.gov.au/council/petitions. The petition number is 146. Please sign the petition. This is a community safety issue. It must be addressed now. Assaults are still happening. Enough is enough. To all you out there, as I have said, we are everyday passengers who have had enough. We are an advocate group of volunteers. We put in an awful lot of work and we do our best every day to find information that we can find and hopefully report it back to you. We need your help. We do have an ABM. We are registered as non-profit. Please help us. You can go to our Facebook page. Please donate to our fund. We need money to travel the state of Victoria over the next 6 months. We need to go and see our brothers in Sydney. We need to go and see our brothers in Brisbane. All bus drivers, we're all one big family. We work together. We need to stay safe. Please donate to our fund, BSB 633 000, account number 165016064. Account name is Put Bus Drivers First. We do have a registered ABM. Our ABM number is 5454986283. We are registered under the Australian code as ANZIC codes 8790. If you want to find out more, go online. Please donate and help us. As we say, we don't get paid for this. There's endless hours. Some companies have been there for us and some companies have helped us. We thank you so much with printing, but petrol is our biggest cost. It's not free to put this on Facebook. It's a cost. So please donate and help us. Every dollar will help us take this message to the people that we need to take it to. Dan, you are the man. It's time to act now. We've asked you many, many times. We need to sit down. I will sit down with you anywhere, anytime. I've already done that. I've met with senior transit police in Frankston. I was promised so much. I brought passengers to that meeting, but nothing. We even rang, we still got nothing. We've sat down with Frankston Council on many occasions. Hours of work, people's time. They promise so much, but still nothing. We think that is disgusting. To you politicians, you are elected to represent the people in your constituency. It's time to act now. Drivers are suffering. Their families are suffering. They had enough of stress. They had enough of violence. Passengers are suffering. They suffer every day. They hate this antisocial behaviour. It's time. PSOs to be put on buses. Stop this designated areas. It's a waste of taxpayers' money. I'm going to sign off, guys. You know where I am. You know who I am. I will be out there with the team over the next 6 months. I thank you for listening. Please sign that petition on our petition page. Go to our Facebook page. Keep following us. Keep liking us. There's over 200,000 people following that page. It's growing. It started off with an average of 300 a week. It's gone to over 15,000 every 3 weeks at the present time. We need to keep up this fight. I can't do it alone, but I guarantee you today, I will not stop trying. Enough is enough. Put bus drivers first. They are more than numbers. They are professionals. Safety before profits. Thank you. Wow.